Welcome to another episode of ComX Recent Reads. This is where we talk about comics that we've read recently, of course, as the name says, and we talk about some other comics as well at the end that we recommend. And I almost got my tongue ring caught under a tooth then and couldn't talk. So that was a bit amusing that I just undid that while we were going through the little thing then. Okay, tonight we have me, Siz, and I'll be talking about this book here. Let's see if I can get it so that it actually can be seen. To Capture a Colorfax by Jana Hoffman. So that was a cool little book to read. We'll go over to Ed because he's first in the square. Ed, who is famous for Radical. What have you got to tell us about tonight?
Tonight, be doing Death Ship Jenny by Rob O'Connor.
Oh, cool.
And I think he's doing everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does it all himself.
Yeah. So that's that one.
So next in line, we've got Ryan Christopher, who's famous for Corner Box. I'll try to remember the correct name for it. And what are you doing this afternoon, Ryan, this evening?
So I'm talking about the John Higgins book, Razorjack.
Ooh.
Created by, written by, pencils, inks, colors, all by John Higgins, with
cool.
a little bit of additional content by Mike Carroll and Sally Hurst. Yeah.
Very nice. And shall I go clockwise or shall I? No, we'll go Tom. Tom, we'll go like we're reading. Tom is famous for Mini Tom and probably other things that I have forgotten. But I know Mini Tom definitely is the big one. So what are you talking to us about today, Tom?
Today I'll be looking at Karate Prom by Kyle Starks with colors by Chris Schweitzer.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Nice. And then, last but not least, we've got Max Ferreder, founder of Stellar Lands. What are you looking at today, my friend?
Well, I'm just dismayed that I'm the only one here without a physical property to hold up.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I got pictures for you.
No, well, yeah.
I'll show them when you come up.
Yeah, very, very embarrassed. I should be more hardcore when it comes to my relationship with books. But yeah, I've read the digital editions of Nemo by Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill, with a specific focus on the first issue, given that, talking about the second and third installments are essentially spoilers for the first issue, which is probably the strongest of the bunch.
Cool. Thank you, Max. Okay. Now, oh, God, I am getting lost like I thought I was going to. Gotta get used to this show. Okay. This is the main bit. This is where we actually talk about the books. Okay, so I'll go first because I have the power. What is going on with my lights here? Anyway, to capture a Colorfax, we've got these two characters. One has been injured by a Colorfax. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Jana, tell me if I'm wrong. And the female protagonist gets very upset that he's been injured and wants to, I should show some internal art, and wants to, if I can, oh yeah, that's working. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Jana's a very good artist, so it was pretty cool to read. But yeah, so she gets upset that he's been injured by a Colorfax, so she wants to abandon the rules and go against the tribal elders and go and capture this Colorfax. And along the way, the Colorfax captures them. And they learn a few lessons. And at the end of it, they realize that maybe there's a good reason they were told not to do what they were trying to do. So, yeah, I won't go into it more than that because I'll ruin the book. But yeah, it was a very cool little book. Very kid-friendly as well, so you can take that home to the kiddies. And, yeah, so great read. So that was me. And I was just going to pass it over to someone else and then realized I'm the host. Okay, so next we'll start down the bottom. We're going to get Max because he's drinking a bit of tea.
Yes. Okay. Well, did we pop up images of the book?
Yeah,
I
just grab it now, buddy.
think that we did. All right. Well, we all know Alan Moore as a renowned figure in authorship and comic book writing. He is perhaps most famous for Watchmen. Siz has a tattoo of Watchmen
Yes.
on his neck, which I guess is pretty indicative of how much you feel about Alan Moore. Would Watchmen be your favorite of his works?
Yes, definitely.
In general?
Definitely.
Oh, excellent. And yeah, what do you feel about his other books, in particular, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I've only seen the movie, to be honest.
All right.
I really want to see the comic because I'm told the comic is way better.
Yes.
And he did V for Vendetta, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love that one. I love that one. I just forget who did it. So
Furious Anti-Fascist.
And I am.
Yes. Well, this Nemo is a digression from the main story of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but it carries on a lot of the famous Alan Moore tropes and hallmarks, where he gets various characters of different degrees of popularity from different source material, and he throws them into this narrative salad, so to speak, and foists upon them a very well-paced story where the stakes are usually world-ending, and the same can be said for the mini stories. And I call them, they're 56 pages, but compared to the 196 pages of Volume 1, it's it's tiny. It's almost a parceled story. Now this the first issue of Heart of Ice of Nemo, which is Heart of Ice, is a sort of direct second part of a story that was introduced in Century, where you have Nemo's daughter reject her birthright of being captain of the Nautilus, which basically rejecting the attribution of the mantle of pirate. And the events of Century shows that she eventually does imbue herself with pirate leadership. And the main theme is, like, you can run from your birthright, but in the end, it'll always catch up with you. And that's what we're seeing in Heart of Ice. Like right at the beginning of the book, she's already engaged in looting, and what she does is she is her character and her crew, which itself is composed of famous characters from different source material: Ishmael, Broad Arrow, Jack. They loot from Aisha, who is also derived from, I believe, a H. Rider Haggard source novel, an immortal deposed princess ruler. And through Aisha's connection with Charles Foster Kane of Citizen Kane, they mount an expedition of hunters to track down pirate Nemo, Jenny, Pirate Jenny, her name is, and exact revenge and recollect the loot which she stole from Aisha. And what follows is a very like the hunters themselves are also derived from source material. Tom Swift is one of them. The others are from Victorian era juvenilia. What follows is I don't want to say it's a very understated cat and mouse, but it's not the main thrust of the book, because Pirate Jenny assigns herself the mission of following her long deceased father's footsteps, of going to Meto Patagonia and seeking out the Mountain of Madness and seeing what exactly is within the hollows and dells of that mountain that drove her father and many others insane. And I won't give too much away, because the source of the madness is surprising. Is from a very well beloved B movie monster who's when you see this monster drawn, you'll get a jolt of nostalgia, especially if you are born in the 80s and you're fond of films. I'll give a wink and say John Carpenter. That was the MacGuffin, so to speak. But yeah, the book has everything that I love. I mean, first of all, when you delve into a Alan Moore novel, a graphic novel, there's a whole heap of density that you have to absorb. It's like I wanted to watch. Well, I want to start watching Born Again, Daredevil for Marvel, but I know that in order to watch Born Again, because it has Wilson Fisk, I have to watch what Wilson Fisk was lost in, which is Echo. And in order to understand Echo, you have to watch Hawkeye. And in order to understand Hawkeye, you have to, because of the character of Yelena, you got to watch Black Widow. And before you know it, you've lost a month. And the same could be said for Alan Moore. This is a digressionary story where you have to have some appreciation or foreknowledge of the stories of the main timeline, and I believe it's worth it. It'll be all the more rewarding when you read it. And one of the things I love most, I mean, about comic books, isn't so much the art. I mean, you can see the art from Kevin O'Neill. It's not how you would say classical or directly in proportion. Alan Moore describes it best. He loves that ghetto aspect of it, and so do I. I love its crude nature, and I love its like its sharpness and its disproportion. It gives it almost an unpredictable mercurial air, and that's and essentially you have to know like the source material, because it takes from other source material. It also imports the dialogue, which is what I love most about comics and plays. I love dialogue. I love how people interact, and I love how Alan Moore just is able to tap into the nuance with such clarity and detail. Like Charles Foster Kane talks like Charles Foster Kane. He'll say stuff like, I tell you, Jedediah, she's a hell of a thing. And the way they talk, it's as if he's resurrected the authors or the filmmakers in a sense. And I read a lot of books. I mean, that's all I do. If I'm not in front of you right now, I'm probably off reading. And to see all of the characters who I love, from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea to Moby Dick, which took me a while to read, but after you read it, you get such a sense of accomplishment. Seeing all of them thrown together is like going into a very well written, very well configured and choreographed costume party, and that's with all of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I feel that you have that same sense of wonder, and I guess you could say that I guess.
Do you think someone who goes to read it would be able to understand what's going on without knowing all those previous novels and books and plays and stuff that he gets his source material from? Would you say, just quickly, because we've got other people with turns, would you say you can read it without knowing all that?
Yes, but speaking as someone who read it back when I was 19 when I first read it, I'm 38 now. Who I was at 19 isn't the same as who I am today. And definitely I wasn't as literate, but I found myself going to the internet and just looking up all of these backstories of all of these characters. It's fun archiving Easter egg sort of behavior. And I know a lot of us do that. I mean, there's no way you can have the whole encyclopedia of Marvel in your mind, and you're reading a comic book. This character just pops out of nowhere. Where is he from? What can they do? And a lot of people will be doing that during Deadpool and Wolverine. They're looking at the trailers. There's just a veritable conga line of Marvel characters who some of you won't have heard of. So yeah, that's what I read this past week. I couldn't recommend it enough. And check out the whole League of Extraordinary Gentlemen opus. I believe that's what Alan Moore ended with, so it must mean something.
Oh, okay.
If that's what he ended with Tempest, and I did read Tempest. It does verge on the self-indulgent, but when you love something wholesale, I mean, I don't love things by half. Like when I dove into comics, Stellar Lands wasn't going to be one issue. It was going to be 8. When I love a series, I watch it more than once. And when I love a comic book, I'm going to read every scrap of information that adds something, adds a layer of amazement and understanding. And that's what, League offers.
Cool. Thanks, Max. Okay. Do we want to go to comments or we want to go to the next person?
We got Sean King.
Nice to see you here.
In reference to the art that was displayed before. You got Ronnie Boys. Hello, good afternoon. I need to read League. Love the movie. You've got
same.
Red saying
Hey,
hi.
Red.
Then we got DVN61.
That's
what next says here, and he reads Archie comics.
I have never read an Archie comic. I should. I've heard. Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Give me recommendations of where to start.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go backwards. So we're going to go. Well, we'll go clockwise. Yeah, Tom. Tell us about your book, buddy.
I've got Karate Prom by Kyle Starks, and Kyle Starks has done a lot of sort of offbeat action things. And when I heard he's doing a high school drama, I thought that sounds really weird for him. And I'm glad I still picked it up. Really fun. The tagline is, "It's the best night of your life if you can survive it." And it's about two people in high school who both compete in karate tournaments. It's the 3 sections: their prom night, the after party, and their graduation. And each has a lot more karate than you'd expect to have in your prom, after party, or graduation. I'll give you a look at the art. It's the kind of comic art that has a really nice energy to it. And if you've ever watched an action movie that's full of action but also really boring, this is not it. This is the kind of art where you've got a lot of character in some of the poses. They're one of those things where if you look at a pose, you're like, that doesn't actually make any sense, but the energy carries it through really well.
Nice.
And it's Kyle Starks knows how to do comics. He knows how to tell a story that's good for the page. It's one of those things where, it's full of karate, it's full of action, but it's not overstaying its welcome. All the action is purposeful. There's a lot of character building throughout fight scenes. And because you're getting 3 sort of different stories in the one book, you get a lot of decent character progression across 3 stories, and it's done in one. And so this is from First Second Press. And you know what? I'm probably going to keep buying more Kyle Starks books.
Cool. Have you read any other Kyle Starks books?
So there was a book called Assassination, which is a bunch of assassins all killing each other. And there was another book called The 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton, where a beloved action star from the 70s is killed. And the 6 child actors who had played as sidekicks over his career gets all swept up into his murder investigation. So he always does these sort of offbeat type action things. And this one is just as good.
You sound like a fan. I like it.
Sweet. So does he? It sounds like he's doing a lot of martial arts, kind of movie inspired.
He is like there is a genre like thing to a lot of his stuff, but at the same time, like clearly, apart from watching a bunch of action flicks, he watched a lot of high school dramas as well, and it's quite a charming book.
Nice. Thanks, Tom.
Cool.
So if I'm going clockwise, I will go comments. Sorry.
They got a nice compliment.
Yes, he is. Max is very passionate. That's what I love about the man. Cool. Well, if we're going clockwise, Ed, you get to tell us about your book.
Okay, so I've got Death Ship Jenny by Rob O'Connor. It's an Australian creator. So Jenny is that girl there. It's from what I gather, she was on a cartoon when she was a kid called Death Ship Jenny, and peppered throughout the. There you go. There's ads throughout the whole thing, and so she's a transition from a child star into a like a Big Brother reality TV show kind of deal, and it's in the future. So there's all sorts of spaceships and stuff flying around in the future cities, and she's trying to get out of the life, but her parents are pushing her into like trying to get her more jobs as just anything to keep her famous, and she's trying to get away from it all. And there's some saucy pictures of her leaked over the future version of the internet, and she's getting chased down the street by crowds of people, and she's invented a hard light roller skate thing. So it's like Inspector Gadget. She can make roller skates come out of her shoes, and she kind of gets hooked up with these people who are going to Mars, and there's like these clones, and they all look like Dwayne Johnson.
Wasn't just me. Good.
And that's where we leave off on the first episode, or the first issue, is they're heading off to Mars, and Jenny she's been recruited by these people who may or may not be a bit sus, but there's lots of like cultural satire about the nature of fame and the people who are chasing it and stuff like that. And it's really well written, and the artwork's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Rob O'Connor from he's been on the Let's Make a Comic Book, but like the really like high level professional cartooning, really strong artwork, and the story's great. And then see like the women's magazine cover. So there's all that satirical stuff going through this story of this young woman who's been kind of forced into a life she doesn't want anymore, and so she's gonna get the heck out of there and go to Mars. And so that
As
is,
you do.
yes. And we've got Lee.
Yes, Greg Lee.
So that is my pick for
Out of the four issue series. Is it four?
Yes, I think there's definitely, this story is finished, and then he's starting a new one as well. So
Oh, cool! I did not know that.
good to look forward to. Hope that wasn't a spoiler. But,
Rob now.
mm.
Well, we've only got one person left. So, Ryan, tell us about your book, buddy.
All right. So things are about to get quite a bit darker. So the book that I've chosen is Razor Jack by John Higgins. John Higgins is best known as the colorist for Watchmen and The Killing Joke. So he's worked with Alan Moore, so another Alan Moore connection. And since about 1978, he's been fairly heavily involved with 2000 AD, so Judge Dredd and whatnot, including a couple of other series that he sort of co-created, like Dreadnoughts, which is a prequel series that sets up the events that leads to sort of the Society of Judge Dredd, and another great 2000 AD sort of spin-off series called Grey Suit. But Razorjack, so it was first published in sort of an anthology format in 1999 by Jack Publishing. But this is the remastered edition published in 2013 by Titan Comics. So some of the artwork's been tidied up, some of the dialogue's been tweaked on this sort of revised collected edition. It includes 2 additional short stories that weren't in the original publication, one that serves as a sequel and one that serves as a prequel. And it includes like a gallery of sort of preliminary sketches and covers and things like that. But the book itself is sort of a Law and Order SVU meets Hellraiser sort of situation. So it centers around sort of 3 narratives going at the same time that all sort of conjoin. So first we've got the narrative set in this sort of hellscape universe called The Twist, where the demon queen Razorjack has captured her sort of main rival, and she's trying to learn the secret to jump between dimensions. Basically, she wants to come into our world and she wants to bring her armies and her vision of hell to Earth.
Lovely.
At the same time, our 2 main sort of focal point characters are 2 detectives named Ross and Frame, who are investigating a series of brutal homicides that, you know, we may learn have some connection to these demons from another realm, as well as some sort of unwitting college kids who are rehearsing for a performance of Macbeth and may accidentally make a fissure between the 2 universes and allow the influence of Razorjack to start spilling into our realm. So it is quite a gruesome book. Like, there's some amazingly brutal artwork. Can you chuck that up on the screen for me, Siz?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Just an example of the inner artwork. What I love about the way that John Higgins colors his work is that even for people who have read Watchmen, and probably more so The Killing Joke too, is that he's not afraid to completely stray from realism and head into like abstract mood related color schemes. And I kind of love it because it makes his work look like nobody else's. Yeah, so I'm glad that there's the 2 additional short stories that are thrown into the back of the book, because in and of itself, my only criticism is probably that the book is quite short. It ramps up this tension, and it wraps it up quite quickly. So you do get left with a sense of that this is almost a prelude to a much larger story that I hope that John one day gets to tell, if there is something there and he does want to tell it, because I feel like there's a whole universe to be told. We get a sense of like the backstory and the power of some of these characters from this other realm, but we don't really get to dig in enough. So we jump through the narratives a little bit quicker than I probably would have liked. So the book is, I mean, it's quite thin.
Oh yeah, when you held it front ways, it looked quite thick.
It's just trying to see how many pages the main story is.
Oh, there better be page numbers, or Dave Dye will be very upset.
There are page numbers.
Oh, Dave will be happy. If you're watching, Dave, this is the book for you.
So it's an 80-page story,
Oh, yeah.
plus the prequel and the sequel segments. But I could have easily had this be double the length. I think that if it was double the length, some of the pacing issues would have been easily overcome. And it maybe would have made it's not that the story doesn't end in a satisfying way. It's just I don't think if you get into the story as much as I did and you're sort of hanging on the events, then it probably just comes about a bit too quick. But yeah, I highly recommend it. You can pick it up. I mean, I got this one from Book Grocer. So if they still have any stock of it there, I think I paid about $12 or something like that.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, if you're a fan of cop dramas, if you're a fan of horror, then it sort of blends the two of them pretty seamlessly into a pretty good story.
Awesome. So would you say Shakespeare is leave it alone? That's the moral of the story. Just leave Shakespeare alone.
Well, let me see.
No, that's good. No, just joking.
It's probably a sense of like, where does darkness come from? Like,
okay,
you know, you've got these horrendous crimes.
The answer is Shakespeare. Interesting.
And this idea, yeah, like, to what extent are we responsible for the atrocities that befit mankind, you know?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Back to me, I guess. And sorry about the camera angle, people. My normal camera is not working. Comments, sorry.
Things are about to get quite a bit darker as how I'm going to introduce myself. I got 4 monkeys. Woohoo. Sorry, I'm late. What did I miss? You missed.
Okay, we'll just do it all over again just for you.
The show. Just the whole show.
Max's review of Hearts on Fire is spot on, and the whole series is one of the best comic series ever. 20 years in the making and very hard to surpass.
Oh, okay.
And really liking the use of colours in tonight's reads.
Sweet.
Well, I have to just double down on what Ed has said about Death Ship Jenny. Like, I think that when you think of like I'm going to be kind, but kind of like be truthful about some things. You know, like the Aussie comic scene. What I love about it is it's all about just getting the work out there in front of people, right? So people aren't necessarily fixating on every last little crisp detail of every project that ever comes out, you know, because there's a space for everything from the most indie of indie through to the most polished professional style books. That book, from top to tails, Death Ship Jenny, is one of the most professionally finished and put together indie Aussie books that I've ever come across. Like, it really is, like, kudos to Rob for really, I know he agonized over like doing the colors to get the book to a spot where he was happy to put it to print. And, you know, he did a fantastic job. Like, he really should be, you know, commended and thrilled with the work that he's put out.
Yep, well done, Rob. Woo! Big fan of Rob. We love that guy. Yes. Well, this is the part where I say, do you want me to hit it? I'll hit it. Have we got more comments coming while I was saying that? I'm not keeping track.
No. Good.
So what I want to say is, people, you want to go here. You want to go to comx.show/interest. What this is about is coming onto the show. You don't have to be a creator. You don't have to be an indie creator. And hell, if you're willing to do crazy hours, you don't even have to be in Australia. All you have to be is someone who reads a comic, liked the comic, and wants to talk about that comic. That's what we are looking for in this particular show. That link will also take you to the ability to show interest in our other shows. And I'll get in contact with you. We'll discuss what we can do and all that sort of stuff. But mainly tonight, I'm talking about this show. We want comic fans, not just creators. This is about people who love comics. That's what this show's all about. Any comic, I think Ed would agree that even manga fits in there. That's just a type of comic as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if everyone agrees with that, but that's what I think. So go to that link, comex.show/interest, or just go to comex.show, and up in the top menu is show your interest, and fill out the form, give me your details, and I'll get in contact with you to get you on the show. Now, this is where
I will be doing some manga at some point too.
Ooh. Well, we've had a few people do manga on here, so yeah. So what I will do, I'm doing a bit of an experiment tonight, so you'll have to excuse me. Kerry just said, "Oh no." Oh god, I'm pressing extra camera here. We don't want that. We don't want my crappy camera coming through. So what we're doing is we're doing a bit of a race to promote ourselves. So I'm going to see if this works. I've made some notes, so hopefully I can get through it in a minute. I'll just get rid of that so we can see everyone. And I guess I'll go first. And I will press the play button and see what I can say in a minute. And go. Like we were saying, show interest. Do that. Okay, Battle for Bustle, Volume 2, Issue 1 is in the ComX shop. So yeah, go to the shop, buy that, buy a whole bunch of other comics with it. But while I'm saying that, Outlaw will be out by the end of the week. That's issues 1 and 2. They will also be in the shop, so maybe you want to wait till that comes out so you can order that with Battle for Bustle and a few other comics. Yeah. Speaking of other comics, I'll be adding a whole bunch of comics from Nick Quick into the shop. I'm adding some stock for Dave Dye, and I think I've got a few other comics down there that I've forgotten who they are, so I'm really great at this. And that's enough about the shop. Then we've got art, people. Art. Send in your art. comex.show/art. Send in your art of Batwoman. That is the character for this Friday night for Drink and Draw. And I think I made a minute. Woo!
Nice.
Who wants to go next? No one. I'll pick someone then. I mean, you don't have to go a full minute. If you've only got a little bit to say, then just say a little bit. Just show us your books, show us your whatever. I meant to get links off people to put up on the screen. Sorry about that. That was a bit disorganized. But we'll go with Tom. Looks very comfortable down there.
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Back him on the big screen. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Well, if I've got a minute, I'm going to use the minute if I can. Oh, no, I've wasted more time already. Crumbs. Okay, hang on a second. Mini Tom is my daily cartoon. Mini Tom is in the day 2600s at the moment.
Wow.
If you Google Tom Tung and you look for the cartoonist, not the doctor, you'll find me. Much to my father's shame. If you want print versions of my books, right now the only place you can pick them up is All Star Comics in Melbourne. But if you're not lucky enough to be a Melbourne local and you do want to get a hold of my books, I've got a bunch of paperbacks, I've got a bunch of single issues, and if only there was a comic website which could stock local books that I could submit to that, 5 seconds left already. I'll have to get back to that.
I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, the cone of death.
What have you done? Oh my goodness.
Ah, it's not letting me do anything.
That's an imposing counter.
Yeah, that is. Here, I'll shrink it. Sorry. Oh, okay, I've now learnt don't let it go all the way to the end. Lesson learnt. Okay. I'm going to pick on Ryan now. He's smiling too much. Okay, so tell us about yourself, Ryan.
All right. So I'm the owner of Cornerbox Comic Art, where I represent a couple of Aussie artists, Lauren Marshall, Jason Paulos, and Colin Wilson, for like original art sales and signings and things like that. So the main thing that is sort of coming up is Lauren Marshall has a store variant cover coming out for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. So I will be posting about that on the Facebook page sometime soon, about how you can get a copy, a signed copy, and it looks like we'll be trying to do a CGC signing as well. So you'll be able to get a signature series book by Lauren Marshall, hopefully sometime in the next week or so. That's it.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, who do I pick on now? I reckon Ed should go last because he's pressing the buttons. So, Max, you're up, buddy. Tell us a bit about yourself, starting now.
Okay, I am Max Ferrata. I am the author of Stellar Lands. Do you have a copy of the book nearby? I don't.
I don't actually.
In
I don't.
proximity. Yes, I don't have any in proximity right now, but because there it is.
Ed, man.
Yeah, Ed. Yes, we sold out of Stellar Lands in New South Wales from both recent cons, Comic Gong and Supernova. It's been well reviewed, over 50 vlogs and websites. You can get a copy at ComX, but also issue 2 will launch on Kickstarter on the 18th, which is Thursday. So you can get a copy of both Stellar Lands 1 and 2, and we have Kickstarter exclusive variant covers. I'm over, but you know that's who I am as a person. I'm always
Max.
always runneth over. But yes, join us on the launch on the 18th. We will. There are stretch goals to be met. There are custom covers to be commissioned as well, and it's just a dense, incredible, layered, character-driven story. And I hope you'll be with us.
Do I need to start it again, dude? Oh, sorry. Ed, tell us about your wonderful self, starting now.
So I make comic books. I've got Radical is a superhero based in Melbourne. So that's Radical there. He's learning how to use his powers and be a superhero. I do another one called Cobber, which is like an 80s crime drama.
Ooh.
That's only available for the Patreons, which is at Ed Kearsley Art on Patreon and also on my Instagram. And me and Siz do another show called Let's Make a Comic Book, where it's on Thursdays and every panel has a different artist. So there's 53 artists, all Australian, in this book, and we're doing season 2, which is Bitsy the Trading Cat is the new character. There you go.
Woo! Just so you know, being really good friends with Siz means you get to go over time, apparently. So now I've got to go back here and I'll close this down.
Should we run that
timer.
ad?
We don't need that pesky timer anymore. Ruining all our fun. This is part of the show where we do the ComX ad.
All right,
Over
I'm
to
going
you,
to press it.
Like, share.
I pressed the wrong one.
Are you feeling a little down? Tired of reading the same old books again and again? Looking for something different? Why not head over to the ComX shop now and pick yourself up some freshly inked inspiration?
Oh yeah. The shop, comx.shop, now redirects you to comx.net.au/store. You can just go to comx.net.au. There's a menu item, pick the shop. The site will slowly start getting all the profiles back. We have to work on that, and then we'll get the other functionality that comx.net.au used to have, but we'll have the shop as part of it. Reasoning for that is just so things are all in one place rather than all these multiple sites that I thought was a good idea at the time. That wasn't really a good idea. So yes, so we're putting the sites together. So now we've done the shop ad. This is the part where we do the little quick fire, and I'm going to do something very unconventional for our quick shot round of recommendations. I'm going to recommend something I haven't read yet. Woo! Battle for Basel, Volume 2, Issue 1. I will be reading it straight after this show. So next show, I'll verify that it was worth recommending. But no. I've heard from people who have read it that it was brilliant, and it is one of Lee's best works. So it is in the shop now. Buy it with all the other things that have been in the shop this week. So maybe wait till Friday. I don't want to put you off, but then you can just buy all of them. All of them at one shipping rate for Australians, $9. So you buy one comic, you buy 10 comics, it's $9. So in Australia, I just want to put that out there because Lee never says that, and people have asked. So just saying it. What's your recommendation, Ryan?
All right. I'm actually kind of recommending a series of books.
Yeah, that's cool.
So they're these lovely hardcover insight editions of H.G. Wells stories.
Oh.
So they came out with The Island of Dr. Moreau, The Invisible Man, War of the Worlds, and The Time Machine.
All right, cool.
And they're so they're sort of been adapted into comic scripts by a literature historian, and then illustrated by some phenomenal European artists. So this one, Island of Dr. Moreau, Fabrizio Fiorentino, who worked on Amazing Spider-Man, is the interior artist for this one. And it's just really stunning.
Very nice.
It's sort of indicative, if you've read a lot of European comics, like the style is indicative of that. Across all, they're not all illustrated by the same person, but they've all got that same sensibility to them. Everything's in super fine detail. The colors are beautiful. They can make some talking head stories into incredibly interesting
okay.
So yeah, they sort of take the H.G. Wells stories and elevate them into something pretty special. So I can't recommend them enough. You should be able to order them through your local comic book store.
Cool. Nice. Who shall I pick on? Well, I've been picking on Tom all night, so why not pick on Tom again?
Cool. All right, I've got a bone to pick with my recommendation because I am seeing too many copies of The Adventures of Superhero Girl in secondhand bins and bargain bins, and this book is gold. It is by Faith Erin Hicks, who's a fantastic artist, and this is the story of superhero girl who's moved to a new town to get out from underneath the shadow of her older brother, who's a more popular superhero. If you like ninjas, this book's good for you. If you like superheroes, this book's good for you. And if you like stories of really inconsiderate roommates, this is a good book for you. If you're not lucky enough to find this in a second-hand bin or for half price, don't worry. You can buy it new, and you should be.
Nice. Thanks, Tom. Okay, I'm going to let Ed go last again. So, Max,
Yes.
tell us your recommendation, buddy.
Well, my apartment is basically just books everywhere, so I'm just gonna reach out randomly.
Just reach for one randomly. That's a spirit.
Let's see what I get. But most of it is books. Like right now, I've got Grapes of Wrath. I'm not gonna recommend that in a comic book.
Obviously, I forgot to tell you about this part of the show.
What?
Recommendation. You don't seem very ready.
No. Okay, here we go. Lane Call. This is from Jodorowsky. It's it's drawn by a very popular European illustrator called Mobius. It's very fast. He did the storyboards for the unfortunately heartbreakingly unproduced Jodorowsky's Dune, and in order to I guess give them some sort of consolation prize, it might have even exceeded their vision. They created Lenkal, which is a story about a private investigator who gets into all sorts of shenanigans, and then there's a MacGuffin as well, which has world-ending capabilities. It's irreverent, it's funny, and I believe it's on the slate for a movie. I'm not sure if it's a movie or a TV series, but being directed by Taika Waititi, and I think that's a pairing that's going to be a winner. I know Taika has fallen out of favor at the moment for infusing his Marvel properties with too much humor, but I think that tendency is just going to work to the benefit of Mobius. And just look at the illustration. I mean, it's there. It doesn't necessarily take itself too seriously because there is a lot of frivolity in the pages, but there's also a lot of intricacy and the world building, and early on there's a sort of encounter with a skin stretcher. I'm not going to give too much away, but it's thick, but you'll race through it. It's that kind of well-paced narrative.
Awesome. Thanks, Max.
No worries.
I'll have to look that one up. Ed, is there comments before we go to you?
We can do comments.
Yeah, I haven't been looking, that's all. I don't know.
It's an excuse to get to my to be read pile.
Yeah, I've got the same thing going on.
Just the reason why we made this show, to make us read
Yeah,
comics.
that's what it was. That's the only reason.
And then
Yeah.
brilliant speedrun, Tom. Okay.
Cool. Ed,
Yes.
what's your recommendation this week? This is going to get hard after a while.
Detective Budgie by Nick Cleary.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Drink and Draw. It's a hard-boiled, like crime noir, the detective, but everyone's birds. So, and it's really funny. It's really well written, and it's quite thick. So I think there's a couple of books collected in there, and you can see Nick's just art and storytelling getting stronger and stronger as he goes through. The more pages he gets under his belt, like the better his stuff gets. And you
It's
can
always
get that
awesome.
on the ComX.shop.
Yep, ComX Shop. Woo. Yep. So lots of things in the ComX Shop. That's what we've decided tonight. And yeah, like I was saying before, Nick Quick, a few of his newer books will be in the shop as well.
Yeah.
Well as that particular one. Detective Budgie, yes, agreed. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And I guess this is the part where we all say thank you all for coming on to the show. Thank you all for your telling us about the books that you've read recently and for your recommendations. I'll be looking them up after the show. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for everyone who watched. Thank you for anyone who's gone to that link that's in the thing down here, comx.show/interest. Let us know that you want to be on the show. We'd love to have you. Yeah. So yeah, tell us about how you want to be on the show. We'll get you on. Come meet me and Ed.
Yes.
Maybe Ryan, maybe Shannon. Who knows? What do you reckon, Ed?
Yeah.
Yeah, hit the button, my friend. Good night, all. Like, share, and subscribe.